Floridian Mythologies number 8, Saint Ava, by David Sawyer. Ernesto left the ranch and opened his own goat farm near Ocala, so he'd never see my Williams family or Mr. James or those goddamn Bellinghams ever again. He'll take to this devotion from that. It had made him human again. So he'll call out in his nightmares, "Christened, ground-spittin' or curses that'll make all moles learn clericals to take up dry cleaning." So even then, Ernesto's wife was concerned, and she woke him up after several times in this same attitude that poor Mrs. Escarino didn't comprehend. "A goat farm in Ocala, really, Ernie?" He gave her the bewilderment expressions of what people in Hollywood would now call the Eugene Levy eyebrows, and said, "Don't call me that, Teresa. It brings back these awful memories of that Whitney Bellingham witch. She always give me hell, and I don't want hell for you and for our baby Miguel." "Okay, man, that's fine, but baby Ava isn't ready for such a daddy of these so-called grumps." He'll smile wide-eyed or laugh and then smile, and Teresa's belly bump was his joy, before and after his work. But a man sees work in so many ways that women do too. But in Hispanic males, it's a prideful, joyous benediction that Ernesto had taken not as his last days, or even if his life was a church service. No, it was not an ending of Mass. It was what he'd call his paradise of humanity. Would this Eden subside? Would it befall? "Ernie, wake up!" "Saint Teresa, don't call me that. What is it, honey?" "My water just broke." "First child." He'll think to himself, so the forest in this Eden might be burnt to tenders, y'all. And you'd think it would have been so with Mrs. Escarino. The shouts, the labor pains got louder in Ernesto's ears, so getting to the hospital was joyful, and especially for him, but little Ava was welcomed by the world, and the world was unwelcoming and said no, of course, and she was delivered but to the Holy Virgin, but dead. Now maybe Ernesto was a bad apple. Maybe this Eden apple was a curse on this now young or beautiful, or the young and beautiful, and preyed upon. Mrs. Escarino did bear 2 children a few years later, but to many religious men and women, the loss of a child isn't disgraces. It's always fruitless apples. So Ernesto, in later years, mourned so sadly that it ragged his momentum, even the loss of his wife to another man in a more fruitful season that he tried so desperately to harvest. But there's never a real autumn in Florida, y'all, so they tried couples therapy beforehand, but he was so run down that his ex-wife and his children, the children he thought were his, attended his grave with inward, dark eulogies that plagued their lives with, "We should have," or "shouldn't have," So Ernesto will die alone in front of his TV, and his loved ones were sent baskets of apples. Deliver us from all evil, O God, for we would not lose hope, would not forget your love. Love this child forever as we have loved her. Guide our steps in the way of peace till with our eyes we behold you and shall praise you with all the saints forever and ever.